Shabbat Shalom. I hope that the hangover of Purim is truly behind us. We're right around the corner from Pesach, and I look forward to an amazing Chag together with you. And we're here for you if whatever it is that you need in preparation for the holiday. And I look forward to celebrate with you. There's something truly extraordinary about the parasha of this week. You can read it 100 times, still not going to make sense. You have a bunch of people, not ordinary people by any stretch of the mind. We're talking about people who witnessed the 10 plagues, the greatest miracles, the splitting of the sea, the revelation on Sinai, 10 commandments, Hashem who himself addresses them. And yet they can just ditch it all for a golden calf. They go and serve an idol worship. You ask yourself, what was their problem? Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu disappeared, but Hashem didn't disappear. Why is it that you want to find an alternative to God? So let's look into the story a little bit. The revelation took place, Matan Torah took place on the 6th of Sivan. On the next day, Moshe Rabbeinu goes up. Before going up the mountain, he says to Am Yisrael, to the Jewish people, I'll be down in 40 days. Get ready. 40 days, I'm coming down the mountain. So 40 days means the 16th of Tammuz, because that's how they calculated. They said, okay, you went up on the 7th of Sivan, and 40 days later is the 16th of Tammuz. Fine. But they made a mistake because they started to count from the 7th of Sivan by day, but really, as we know, in Jewish tradition, the day starts with the preceding night. So really, Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to come down on the 17th of Tammuz. So they made this mistake just pretty much half a day. But that was enough to trigger this incredible confusion. And so when Moshe Rabbeinu is still not here on the 16th of Tammuz, mass hysteria breaks out, and everyone is going. Moshe Rabbeinu is obviously dead. He's stuck in this mountain. God knows if he will ever come down. Rashi tells us that the Satan made Moshe Rabbeinu appear in the heaven on a bed. And that was it. That was enough for them to go to Aharon, make us a God that is going to guide us. To make the long story short, there is now a golden calf. They worship this golden calf. They offer sacrifices to it. And there's a verse in the book of Psalm that really sums up that whole story. What does it say in Tehillim? V'yamiru et kavodam betavnit shoach el esav. They substituted their glory with the molded image of a grass-eating bull, ox. Does that make sense to you? What do they think? That it's this golden calf that took them out of Egypt? It's this golden calf that's going to guide them to the land of Israel? Obviously not. So there must be another answer, another perspective as to what happened here. And the late Lubavitcher Rabbi of blessed memory shared the following insight about what really truly happened in this moment. What happened is that the Jewish people were not looking to substitute God. What they wanted is, they wanted the mediator. They wanted the divine representative that they can relate to, that they can interact and engage with. In their mind, Hashem is abstract. Hashem is remote, distant from us. Hashem cannot be concerned with the petty affairs of a human being. And so therefore, it's impossible to just continue business as usual. Moshe Rabbeinu is not here, and then we're going to carry on the desert and we'll ultimately arrive to the land of Israel. No, that's not happening. There needs to be an intermediary between us and God. And the mistake they made is that they wanted to concretize a divine mediator. They want it to be in the concrete, in the tangible. And of course it doesn't work like that. Because Hashem is truly involved in every aspect of our lives. Every angle, every small experience. Very often we make the mistake, and this is the modern day sin of idol worship, which is a lot more, I think, potent than the old-fashioned idol worship. When we say, I know a doctor that's going to take care of me, and with him, everything will be fine. This lawyer is going to save me. Or I have these contacts, these networks of friends, and they're going to take me from, they're going to schlep me out of this major issue I'm having. Of course, we know this is something we've experienced throughout our entire history. There is a divine hand that's at play. It's not the lawyer that's going to bring salvation or the doctor that brings healing. It is Hashem that is going to help them and give them the ability, the capacity to help us. Does the vaccine bring healing? No. Does Corona kill? No. Hashem runs the world. Down to a blade of grass that's moving in a specific direction. That is also part of God's plan. So I want to share with you a story about Hashgacha Pratit, about divine providence. There's a Chabad Shliach in Florida by the name of Rabbi Felig, Yankee Felig. And he has a good friend, one of his supporters, who lives in Brazil. And they have a study session. Every once in a while they learn, and they enjoy an amazing relationship. Now this fellow, he's okay with learning Torah. He appreciates it, he enjoys it, but there's one particular concept he's having difficulty to connect with. And what is that concept? Hashgacha Pratit, divine providence. One day, this individual from Brazil decides he's going to spend Yom Kippur in America, in Connecticut. So he's got the address of the shul, and he's together with a friend who happens to be a very successful cardiologist. And they've lost their way. They need direction to get to the shul, and it's getting very close to Yom Kippur Eve, and they meet this young man in the street with a yarmulke, and they say, oh, okay, so for sure he would know where to go. And he basically this young man tells them, well, I don't know the shul you're looking for, but I know another shul, and he points them to the right direction, and they spend Yom Kippur Eve in that other shul. Now what happens is, in the middle of the service, one of the congregants falls ill, and a massive heart attack, and they're calling for a doctor that might be able to assist. There's no time to call an ambulance. He needs to have first aid immediately. And so, of course, this cardiologist is there, and he says, maybe I can help. And he goes there, and he's trying to administer first aid, and to give this initial treatment. And thank God he comes out of it. He goes to the hospital. Everything is fine. The next year, again, they go, the two of them, to this same shul in Connecticut for Yom Kippur. And this person who was saved approaches the cardiologist, and he says to him, tell me, would you mind perhaps if you could remember, tell me, who is the one who helped you to find the shul that you were looking for? Someone gave you directions. Can I find out who is the one who gave you directions to come to shul? And so the cardiologist identifies and says, well, it's this and this person. And this guy listens, and he says, it's amazing. It's actually my son. it is my son who directed you to come to our shul. If you would have gone somewhere else, I might not have been here standing today. And so now the cardiologist says to his friend, a good man from Brazil, he says to him, well, now I think you've got a good lesson about Hashgacha Pratit, about divine providence, because Hashem truly guides us. I think Queen Esther understood this as well. Queen Esther is sent by Mordechai to approach King Achashverosh. And finally, she consents to go and see him. But before going to see Achashverosh, she says to Mordechai, please gather all the Jews, they should fast for me for 3 days. Now tell me something, if you're about to go and see a king, a prime minister, would you go and fast 3 days before that you should look like a totally beaten up, tired, famished person? Is that what you want? No, you want to look your best. You're not going to go and fast for 3 days before. See, she's shooting herself in the foot by fasting for 3 days before. But why did she do this? Because she knew that ultimately the effort she's making is contingent upon her putting her trust in Hashem, because that is ultimately what's going to bring her success in her mission. Esther is very cognizant of the fact that there is nothing that is outside the existence of Hashem, Chas v'Shalom. And you find the same with Yosef HaTzadik. Joseph is in prison, and he interprets the dreams of those 2 ministers of Pharaoh that are there. And he says to the Sarah Mashkim, to the person in charge of the beverages in the palace of Pharaoh, after he interprets his dream, he says to him, Kim Zachor Zechartani, please remember my name. Remember me when you see Pharaoh. And Rashi says the problem with Yosef is that Tala Einav, he literally put all his hopes in this minister, that he should be the one to bring about his salvation, that he should go out of prison. And the idea here is that Yosef uses the word Zachor Zechartani. Twice he says that you shall remember me. And here perhaps on the level of Joseph, who was an upright individual, a tzaddik gamur, a truly righteous individual, Joseph should have trusted in Hashem and not in this minister. So we have to make an effort. Whenever we want to achieve anything, we make the effort, we work hard. But in the same way that we're enjoined to make an effort for us to be successful, whatever endeavor, we want to earn a living, we have to work. Sometimes we have to work hard. But we need to know the limit of this ishtadlut, of this effort, that ultimately Hashem is the one who provides. So in as much as we have to make the effort, we need to know when to stop making that effort. When making that effort to the point where we're obsessed with the effort is something that is detrimental to us. That is how we deal with the problem of modern idol worship. We may have very demanding professions, but if we're able to leave the office an hour earlier, because it's not going to make such a huge difference to just take 1 hour off, and we're going to earn a good living, even if we don't work that extra hour, that is what we have to do, because that's what it means to serve Hashem, to devote that extra hour to your family or to learning Torah or some other spiritual pursuit. In that, we should find comfort. that perhaps today we have the ability to devote more time to the things that should matter to us the most, and in the merit of this effort, should, I hope and pray that Hashem should listen to our prayers, that we should have an experience, a redemption, which is a salvation from this corona, from this COVID crisis once and for all. And of course, with the ultimate redemption with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu, Amen, Ken Yiratzon. Shabbat Shalom again.